risky if you haven't seen it before. I do
Right.
know Dan occasionally has gone through the first set of moles like you would in world record attempts. We'll see if he does that in this race.
Sure.
So actually, right on this first corner here would be where Dan would do it, and looks like he's playing it safe and just going around this time.
So and we do have Dan with a slight lead on the just starting his race just a little bit earlier, but it should be, we'll be able to see Matthias with a pretty large lead.
Yeah, like you were saying, this is one of Matthias's strongest tracks. Dan actually going through the moles on lap 2, probably knowing that his first lap was a bit weak, and so trying to save some time.
0.7 behind Matthias there, so. But again, even Matthias still
played it pretty risky on the shroom as well. And you can see he gained about 0.4 back, so if he does that again, he could take this.
Yeah, Matthias with the 0.3 lead coming in.
Yeah, like I said, if you're high-end player, you can actually get through those first moles pretty consistently. It's still a risk to go for, and he goes risky again.
It's going to be close, but I think
Dan takes it by
0.02. 0.02! Wow! Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
You can see, though, how strong Matthias is on this track, that Dan went risky, like basically full world record strats on laps 2 and 3, and still just barely pulled it back. So yeah, Dan, what I was seeing there too is I don't think Dan got lucky. I think he actually, I don't know if he's been practicing a riskier shroom to avoid the moles and not be super close to the fence, but for what I was seeing there, I don't think he went over a mole hole.
Sure.
Which could have just been, luck of the draw with his shroom, or he might have planned for it, I don't know.
So as you can see, we're heading to DK Jungle Parkway. This is, going to be incredibly interesting to see how far left they try to cut with the bridge, the river jump. Really makes or breaks this run. So we'll see how safe they both play it.
Yeah, and this is one that relatively recently Dan got the world record on the flap. So he's played it, I would say, much more recently than Matthias at a high level,
and Matthias definitely getting the better of the jump, but Matthias not being quick on that shroom. You want to shroom as soon as you land, and he hit it just a little early before it took his input. So yeah. I would say that was pretty even coming out of the river jump.
I think Matthias is going to be just a little bit ahead. Depends on the hill climb.
Oh no! Yeah, that hill climb destroyed Matthias. So
that is historically one of his bit weaker parts of his DK is that cave compared to Dan.
And with a much stronger river crossing that time, and Matthias better on the getting a better timing there as well.
Yeah, you can see too. Dan went to the left of the trees, and Matthias went in between them. That is going in between is the better line, but it's also a longer line, so if you land a bit too far right off the bridge jump, your shroom's not going to make it all the way across the grass, so sometimes you have to take
much better hill climb from both of them. But Matthias picking back up time there. Matthias is slightly ahead.
Oh, Dan hits the fence, though.
Yeah. Both have gotten more aggressive with that. Oh, Matthias bouncing off the trees. So Dan didn't get his MT going there. Sometimes the unevenness of the ground, you start your jump and it doesn't actually start sliding. So this is going to be a photo finish again. I think Matthias is slightly ahead. I think this is. Yep.
And
yeah,
Matthias does take it.
Oh, that's what we like to see, though. I mean, you always say a match truly begins when both people are on the board. So
Yeah, also, it's interesting because Moo Farm being one of Matthias' strongest, this track I'd say one of Dan's strongest, and they both won each other's picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But also two of the tracks that are probably the most likely to have a flip like that because they are.
Yeah, I think so, and I do.
I mean, consistent.
And it was funny. I mean, even in chat, Matthias said this is the exact opposite of I would have expected the results of those two tracks. And I would say actually probably flipping is probably the least likely scenario. I think you're more likely to see one player go up 2-0 or split their normal ways than what we saw. So Banshee Boardwalk, the big thing here is definitely just how aggressively they're going to be cutting their corners.
Yeah, Banshee Boardwalk is, I mean, every track in Mario Kart 64 is technical, but this one sort of especially so.
Dan went for the extra MT there by the fish, and he didn't get it too cleanly, but I do think he is slightly ahead here. I don't know, Smurfy, you've been playing this game longer than I have. Have you ever understood the fish? Yeah.
To be honest, I completely blank it out. I forget there is a fish. I honestly, sometimes when I'm watching the replay of a run I've done, I'll be like, oh yeah, the fish. I like when I'm playing, I don't even notice it. It's crazy.
Sure. The fish has never made sense to me. But coming here, definitely Dan is well in the lead. Matthias, you will see, I think Matthias knew he was a little bit behind there. He had a weaker lap 1 and was much more aggressive on the first crack jump. But even still, Dan is ahead. Dan driving just incredibly cleanly this track.
Yeah, this is one that I would have expected them to be relatively even on, honestly.
Ooh, missed an MT there. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly at this point that Dan needs a major mistake to have Matthias get back into this one. And Dan is clean, so track to Dan.
Yep, by about half a second, a little less.
Yeah, Matthias was incredibly strong there at the end, but again, he lap 1 especially hurt him.
Yeah, that's a really good lap 3 for Matthias, actually.
All right, we are heading to the desert. Dan is
Yeah, Dan's pick for KD. Again, another one that historically I wouldn't really think one has a big advantage over the other. Both have held world records here, I think.
Yeah.
On NTSC especially, Dan's held world record on every track except Moo Farm, I think, on NTSC. So...
I agree, and commenting on, he was quite impressed that Matthias was able to get a 67 with a missed MT lap 3 there. Again, I certainly would say Matthias is driving much better today than the last time these two played, so that's great.
Yeah, controllers are so important in this game, and it's not just, oh, I need a good controller. It's every player pretty much has a different preference for what they like in a controller. Like, I mean, you can see it here. World number 1 and number 2 could not be more opposite in what they like. Matthias likes a nice tight stick, and Dan likes one so broken that I think even I might not be able to use it. And I like broken sticks too.
Yeah, I recently bought a new nice tight controller, and it made a world of difference for me. So Dan with the 0.3 plus lead here. So. Definitely looking like a strong pick for him. And it's interesting. You see these little Matthias's wheels are just barely touching the gravel on the side of the road there. But those, I mean, again, at this level, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it loses a surprising amount of time to go off track, even for just a second. And as well, at the beginning of this track, you see them going way off road, and that cuts a huge corner of the track. But if you don't do these hill hops that look pretty simple, if you don't do them well, you will lose a bunch of time over just driving the track. And these guys are incredibly clean on those hill hops.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You want to. So the way it works in Mario Kart, the fastest way of traveling is in time trials at least is drifting while shrooming. That's why you'll always see them when they're using a shroom. They're drifting, and then just shrooming. And
Dan takes track 3.
So, then just driving straight, in the air, drifting, and then being on over gravel and things. So what you want to do is when you're off road there, you want to maximize the time you're in the air. Any other time, you want to maximize the time you're on the ground, working with the MTs. And so it's incredibly interesting how that does. All right, so we have set point here.
With Matthias's pick, so he's got to think about this, because does he try to go for something that he can try to steal a win on? Does he go for something he's super confident in to stay? He's been
grinding FS quite a bit. SL.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Out of the two of them, I would have said that Dan was probably stronger on Chevrolet.
I would have probably guessed the same thing, and maybe that's part of why Matthias says, again, like you said, you've got to when you're down 3-1, you got to start protecting your picks, because the way the format works is Matthias can't pick the same tracks next set. So even if he's feeling confident in, let's say, a Frappe Snowland where he's grinded quite a bit, it's interesting to see just what they
yeah, you could end up burning a pick in a set that you were too far behind in.
Right.
But now that I've said that, Dan being stronger here, in one-try formats, he has had a bit of a history of going too aggressive on these crack jumps. Looks like he played it relatively safely there, but he has fallen in the water a couple of times in the past.
Sure.
So maybe Matthias thinking of that in this pick as well.
I think what's going to be incredibly interesting to see is what, if anything, do they do with their shortcuts and flaps, especially shortcuts. Neither of them have a long history of shortcut running.
Although Matthias holds a shortcut world record.
He does.
But,
and I would say of late
on a driving track,
Yeah, and I would say of late, Matthias has been doing more of as new shortcuts have been found this year. Matthias has been doing more of it, but
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see as the match develops. And so far, Matthias was 0.2 behind. The things that really cost him there was the little bonk coming out of the cave and just little things like that.
Gains back
almost all of it.
117, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh
no, Matthias! All right.
So that is pretty much guaranteed to give the set to Dan.
Yeah, I mean, unless Dan falls in on the last crack jump, and he won't have a mushroom to recover speed, but we'll see. Yeah, Dan played. I think. Yeah, I think he saw that Matthias fell. Going for style and jumping in at the end. I mean, it is faster as well, but you gotta love it. Unfortunate. But it shows that what that tells me is Matthias is really playing for the win here. He went super aggressive on that. So
yeah, it can also just be a thing with those crack jumps. You see it all the time. Just you press that R button just a frame too late, and you're in the water.
No, this is we are going to Frappe Snowland, which is kind of where I was thinking, because Matthias did grind. He did get world record on NTSC here on Friday, so I'm not surprised by this pick at all.
Yeah, and it is Matthias's pick first in this set because he lost the previous set.
Yes, thank you.
Throughout the match.
So, and then the next question is, how deep into this set do we go until Dan picks Royal Raceway? Which I would say is unequivocally his best track.
For sure.
I mean, he grinded the PAL world record down so far. I mean, he just knows that track inside and out.
Yeah, I think Jake in one of the news updates said his time looks like an error. Yeah, it's he's got a pretty big gap to the rest now.
Matthias definitely with the cleaner landing than not having to do nearly as many hops adjusting his line. Dan with a small bump there, so you know, Matthias should be ahead by 0.2 or so here.
0.05.
0.05.
Yeah, it's interesting because PAL, Matthias has a pretty crazy time, but on NTSC, this is like Dan's wheelhouse. This was the first ever combined world record he ever got was on Fraps No Land, and it was on NTSC.
Right.
So he is incredibly
Matthias.
good at this
Oh
track.
no, Matthias!
Hits that snowman on landing.
And I expect, again, if Dan's watching here, he will certainly play it incredibly safe.
He probably will, yeah. It is interesting to note, too, that while Matthias has been pretty dominant and is the overall champ for non-shortcut, Dan is actually the NTSC champ.
Yeah, he's on a quest right now to get 32 out of 32 in NTSCs.
Yeah, to the point that Abney went back to his old classic, Moo Farm, and and grabbed a record.
So, well, you know, I think that's one of the greatest things about the game is, while there's a love to see the scores going down, there's also huge competition between the top players, not wanting anyone to just have pure dominance.
Yeah, this is PAL and combined champ, which is Matthias, versus the NTSC champ, which is Dan.
Yep.
And they're both second place in the one that they're not champ in.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, these are the unequivocal number 1 and 2 in the world for non-shortcut. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's, anybody who could even argue that.
No, Abney can take a world record here and there, and there's such a big gap behind him, and then even behind Abney's a pretty big gap too. He calls it his rank island.
Right.
You know, he's just all on his own in third.
Well, and I think if Abney cared more about non-shortcut, right? He loves grinding shortcuts, and he especially loves grinding Grand Prix. I think that he could certainly push them a bit more. It's just not where his focus is. And so, you know, taking the time to get all those little micro strats that you have to have at this level down. So what you see here is 2 major cuts around the first hairpin and then the shroom are tights where at this level you'll see them cutting incredibly close to these walls, and it is possible even still at this level to see them bonk and make those mistakes.
So Matthias actually
ahead. Matthias with a, you know,
so
they're really.
Are we going to start off this set like we did the last, where they win each other's best tracks?
Possible.
Because, you know, like you said, Dan coming right back in with the Royal Raceway pick.
Yeah, Dan's a little all over the road here. I mean, Matthias is certainly continuing to pick up time.
See both those players on the shroom as well, going into the grass really late. You can see that's a mistake that a lot of newer players make, is going into the grass too early on that shroom.
Yeah.
People think, oh, I've got to cut the grass as much as possible, but actually it's much faster to get the whole shroom through the grass and get a really nice angle around that wall.
Oh, Dan all over the road.
But saved a bit of time.
Yeah, Matthias getting that 47. Yeah, Matthias just has to play it, you know, nice and consistent here, and this is certainly his track to lose now.
Yeah, you can see there's a pretty big visual gap between them now.
Right, and Matthias was even third of a second late on the start compared. So I mean, it's barring Matthias having an ending similar to what Dan did at the end of last lap. This is certainly going to Matthias here. I love the flair there. Love that.
Yeah, Matthias was a very strong race.
Yeah. Double 47s and an incredibly low 48. I mean, you're happy putting that time down on a, not warmed up on the track. Oh, probably the track that gives me the most fits next is Choco Mountain.
Yeah.
Mario Kart has some incredibly interesting interactions, physics, whatever you want to say, in the geometry when an angled wall hits the road. A straight wall, you'll just bounce off of it, but the angled walls you have here in Choco Mountain, they eat you. They just absolutely devour you. Take away all of your speed, spin you out. It's just the worst. And so there's a couple of spots here where if they get a little too close to the walls, it's a high penalty.
It is, and then you can even have cases where you set a new personal best time, load up, save the ghost, load it up, and the ghost desyncs because the game doesn't know how to handle the walls, and you got too close to one, and it just happened to break the ghost, and at some point it'll just veer off and get stuck in a wall somewhere.
Oh no, Matthias canceling his shroom there. That was one of the more costly mistakes we haven't seen yet. So if you, while shrooming, touch a wall, it cancels your shroom. Though Dan's kind of bouncing off the walls himself, so not a clean lap one from either of these racers.
Yeah, and you see a bit of varying in strats where Dan hops over the hill and Matthias starts charging an MT over it. It's not really faster; they're about the same.
Yeah.
Just a bit of preference.
So both of them got clean hills, as we call them, which is on those last 3 hills at the end of the race. You want to go off the first one and land on the back half of the second one cleanly and ramp off the third. There is skill involved with doing it, but there's still an element of luck on whether or not you get good hills.
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely ways to get more consistent at it, but even both these guys, I've seen them on world record pace here and get bad hills. Yeah,
Matthias got unclean hills there, and still an incredible time with those hills. He was definitely...
Yeah, when it comes to bad hills, those were probably the best you can get. He didn't lose it too much time on that one. There are some times where you just slam into the hill and you lose like 0.3. It's just it's ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly close. Matthias was 0.2-ish behind coming in, but some bad hills.
Both get good hills at the end. Dan takes it 0.11.
Not enough from... All right, so we're going to see now. So this set, they have each won each other's picks. So let's see if Matthias can keep it up and bring us back to 2-2. And, it's always funny when you get into these sets where people are winning the other person's picks.
Yeah, it happens weirdly often. Yeah, you can see in that last race, really just that lap 1, messing up that first shroom was what cost it for Matthias.
I do think it's funny. So Dan's on. You can see Dan is on the Japanese cartridge. What's incredibly funny to me on the Japanese cartridge is there's a ton of English in the Japanese cartridge.
Yeah.
Like, why is Star Cup and Map Select and OK? Like, I've never understood why those are in English. It's so weird.
Yeah, from what I've read, and someone should ask Kazuya about this, since we do actually have a Japanese player in the community. I've heard it's just that there's a bit of a visual affinity for English in Japan, sort of similar for what we have with kanji and stuff like that.
Oh.
But I've never actually had that confirmed by someone from Japan, so someone should ask him because I'm curious.
So Matthias did not get a clean MT off the start there, so Dan definitely starting off ahead. Probably the biggest issue here is coming up right here on the shroom. If you get too close to this wall, you can hit the wall and just, you spin out, you lose all your speed. It's absolutely awful.
So Dan looking like he's got the early lead. He does. The timers are a bit out of sync, so he's not as far ahead as it seems. But I think even accounting for that, he's a little bit ahead. I can just check.
Yeah, 59.
Yeah, by about 0.2 maybe.
I was gonna say 0.3, but yeah, we'll see as they come in.
57 and 08. Wow, yeah. So Dan about half a second ahead after lap 1. And that is Wario Stadium. It's this hugely long track that is at the same time extremely technical. Like usually there's a little bit of a trade-off in this game where the shorter tracks are more tight and technical, and the longer tracks like Rainbow Road, for example, is mostly an MT spam fest. But this one is actually this
I think
horrible combination of both that for some reason is still fun to drive to me.
I was gonna say certainly if you have to make me pick between Rainbow Road and Wario Stadium, it's not even close. Wario Stadium is incredibly interesting and technical. Rainbow Road, should we get to see it, as you'll see, is just literally almost 5 minutes of slamming as many straight stretch MTs as you can. Like, it's just awful. Destroys your thumbs, destroys your controllers, and should be friendly banned from the competition.
Yeah, when I was there's a new shortcut on Rainbow Road that's very short, but you have to drive around to lap 2 to do it because the shortcut automatically advances the lap, so you can't just shortcut to lap 2 with the new strat. And what I was doing was I was using my non-shortcut controller to drive to lap 2 and then swapping out for my good controller. Because for A/B spins and stuff, you want a tighter stick, and I didn't want to ruin my stick driving Rainbow Road.
I mean, you could just drive around lazily.
Yeah, even that, you know, it's rough.
Matthias with another wall bonk here.
Oh, Matthias tumbles on that
Matthias
shroom,
doing
though.
exactly what I said was the problem. If you get too close to that wall, it just eats you. So Dan just has to play it pretty clean, and there isn't too many major mistake areas here. Now here's a question for you, Smurfy. What's the best way to go over those little moguls that they just went over there? Is it you want to kind of stick to them if you can, right? You just drive over all of them?
On that one, I don't think it really matters. Like, I've had a ghost that goes over it really smoothly, and I slam into all of them, and I don't seem to lose much time on it, honestly.
Okay. So, unsurprising, with that loss, with that shroom failure. All right, now. Dan
honestly,
has taken
didn't lose by as much as I was expecting. After tumbling.
I agree. Dan doubling up on his laps 2 and 3 there.
Yep. Yeah, Matthias got one of those
look
as
at
well.
that. Matthias, half of the laps here were 1:12:73s. That's hilarious.
So Matthias bringing out the Bowser's Castle pick for the next race, and I'd say in one try format, that is definitely something that Matthias is extremely good at. Is Bowser's Castle. Just the consistency on Bowser's Castle in a one try is so hard to get.
Absolutely.
Because for people who don't know, usually what we do is we use a ghost to distract the thwomps that track you in that second room. We just sit one at the top of that room. The thwomps constantly are trying to attack it, and they ignore you as you drive by. But in a one-try format, ghosts aren't allowed, so you actually have to deal with them.
Yeah, and it's Bowser's Castle is also. Oh no, Matthias!
Very close to going into the lava there.
Nice recovery there, but what's interesting still becomes how that changes. Oh no, Matthias! I was gonna say, so what's difficult about this when you have little mistakes like that? Bowser's Castle is a cycle-based course. The thwomps always follow the exact same patterns, but as you gain and lose time over the course of the track, you need to adjust your driving to those patterns, especially in the sliding thwomp room. So Matthias is certainly not out of this yet. If there's any track that's going to have like big mistakes, this is certainly one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So
as well too with this track, there's sometimes where you get really into it. You know your thwomp patterns for your pace, and the thwomps aren't an issue anymore. And then you improve on the track, and then you get a run. You get a run where you're like half a second ahead of your PR on lap 3, and you suddenly have no idea where the thwomps are going to be. And
now both of them.
It's a track where sometimes you have to get there on good pace and fail just to learn where things are on good pace.
Yeah, that was me the last time I grinded this track for sure. Is that lap 3 sliding room? That front thwomp was just in my way, and I either had to drive enough faster to get by. So yeah. So, and I will say I've been quite impressed with both of them.
Oh, Dan, it's a thwomp.
Dan! And that's a much worse thwomp than what happened. And that's Matthias back in the lead.
Yep. Yeah,
I was gonna say, but I am incredibly impressed. One of the most difficult MTs in the game, I would say, is that MT off of the rope bridge down the stairs. You have to hit it incredibly cleanly, release, and get down. All 6 of those were very, very nicely done.
Yeah, it's something that the top guys are pretty much just consistent at it and don't really have to worry about it, and us mere mortals have to worry about it much more.
Right, and even still, a 155 time, that's still probably easily top 100 in the world at a 155. It's got to be close at least, but I guess that's top 200. But it's crazy with a massive mistake like that, just the level that they've got.
I can check real quick. Yeah, 155.
I'm curious.
Like higher 100s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that's higher 100s, I only have the NTSC charts up, so
yeah, it's fine.
Worse than that combined, but
But again, it just shows the caliber here. So heading off to Toad's Turnpike.
Yeah, Zoran, those amateurs getting 55s,
I like Jasper's goal. They want a 6th set. I like this.
Yeah, we can't get a 6th.
No, we can. We can, though. If they just tie like 6 tracks in a row, it's like we got a 6th set.
True. Yeah, we can get it. We get the same number of tracks for a 6th set. And these guys have tied before. In the last season, they tied on 2 different tracks, I believe.
Well, you say you don't see it going to Dan, but Dan's the one who picked this. This is Dan's pick. Now this one you'll see, so normally when you do an MT, you want to glide with your MT, and the real benefit from an MT is that speed boost over the next almost second. But you'll see here on these turns, Matthias and Dan are both just jamming out MTs as fast as they can, because what is better is staying tight to the rail. And I would certainly say Matthias got the better of the rail on that last turn. So we'll see as they come in here. I think it'll be pretty close.
Yeah, this track is, we'll see if they come across the line. Dan, 0.3 ahead. 0.3. But this is one of those tracks where it is just MT spam. It's for people switching from NTSC to PAL, it's usually the first track people go to get that MT timing down again, just because it's just constant. And because of that, it's probably going to be the track that forever keeps me from being Biversal God, because NTSC on this track hurts me.
Well, we just gotta get you PAL.
Well, I do have PAL, but Biversal is all the gods on both. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, it was like, wait, Smurfy, you're God.
Yeah. The 3-lap here on NTSC is one of the 4 non-shortcut ones I don't have, and will probably forever be one that I don't have. It's just I don't even get close. So.
All right, so
I'm picking up even more time lap 2.
Yeah, basically need a bomb, to hit a car or some major mistake. 0.5 is incredibly difficult to make up on a single lap.
Yeah, which isn't out of the question, because he can't just play it safe. Also, and making a good point, Matthias does have a shroom still.
Oh, you're right. So he's probably up closer to 0.2, 0.3, because a shroom certainly saves you, especially on a track like this with the corners. So no, you're right. I didn't realize.
Because you spam MTs around the corners, it doesn't save as much as you might think, and as you can see, it's really close right now. I think, once again, Dan started a bit earlier, so I think Matthias might actually...
that little hop there.
It's going to be very close coming to the line. And Dan takes it.
Takes it, yeah.
So Dan takes set number 2. And you can see the players are actually going to grab a quick break, grab some water. But yeah, Dan with the early stranglehold on the match so far. Neither player using any jokers though. Could still throw a wrench in things.
And I will say, even though the set count is 2-0 in Dan's favor, this is certainly a much closer match than the last time. So, I do not think it's out of the question for Matthias to get a reverse sweep here. Dan is driving incredibly well, but Matthias is right there with him, you know, and so. And I'm sure even the Dan fans out there have got to be cheering for Matthias even just a little bit, just so we can see more world class racing here. For sure. Whenever these two guys get together, you're hoping for 5 sets and 7 tracks per set, you know? So. Yeah, neither player using any of their jokers. I would expect we would see all of them used. At the very least, the flap jokers. Shortcut would depend on how the sets are looking. Yeah, I could see. I think that Matthias is probably more likely to use the shortcut joker. And no surprise here, Matthias really kind of want to just set a statement for this set, going back to Moo Farm. We'll see how risky Dan plays it. I really the only reason I think he won last time was he played it a bit riskier, and so we'll have to watch again as. Yeah, and he was able to claw back an early lead from Matthias as well by doing that. Creeper, I'm right there with you. I think that again, even the Dan fans wouldn't mind seeing Matthias win a set or two so that we can get to set 5. I will say, I think that Moo Farm is definitely one of those tracks that gives newer players fits, not just because of the moles. The moles are annoying, and you learn to deal with them. But the ground is worse. Yeah, I think if you gave me the choice between leveling out the ground, fine, have the texture, but like not the micro texture, and the moles, give me smooth out the dang ground, because you're hopping all over the place, and your mini turbos get canceled all the time. Yeah, it's awful because in this game, unlike some other Mario Kart games, if you're in the air, you can't be charging an MT. It just doesn't work. You can still hold the drift and it will kind of remember where you were in the MT, but you can't continue progress towards that stick toggle. Yeah, and so when getting an MT. And so you'll do your rhythm. Yeah, you'll do your normal rhythm, which is just muscle memory, and find out when you let go of it that your cart was off the ground for like a frame or something and you didn't get the MT. And yep, Dan takes it. Oh wow! Yeah, you can see that last lap saved him. Yeah, that last lap really, jeez. Dan putting down a heck of a time there, 1:13.08. Yeah, once again, would be a top 15 time on NTSC. That's insane. And by that I mean a top 10 NTSC time combined. I'm not sure, but that's absolutely insane. Yeah, it's like again when you're not going ridiculous. World record strats. Yeah, and that's the thing too, like not going full risk either, and like the world record strats going through all the moles save a lot of time. Absolutely. So Dan really trying to put the clamps down here and, you know, get a statement up to 2-0 in what could potentially be the final set.
thinking with the Jokers too, I would expect both of them to use the Flap Joker. I think both of them tend not to use the shortcut Joker until the match is kind of over and the result's not really in doubt. So I think if this is a close fought set, you can probably expect neither of them to use it. But if Dan pulls ahead to 3-0 or something, they'll.
Looking at when they came off the jump, I think Matthias is behind by about 0.1. That was the best my eye could do. Ooh, Matthias getting dragged down through the grass. That's certainly gonna.
Not losing too much though.
Yeah, I was gonna say not as bad though. That again, those little cuts on the grass that you saw there, those are the real killers at this level. I mean, but certainly not within. Like this is definitely within the realm of coming back.
Yeah, I mean they get so close to that wall in the shroom too, and we've definitely seen. I think both these players mess up that shroom in the past. So it's
yeah.
And it's the crazy thing with these guys is that they are so consistent that one mistake really does get punished.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and I mean, you know, they certainly have a. They're bringing it all here. They don't want to leave anything on the table. Matthias clawing back a 0.01 there, so he needs to beat him by 0.17 to win. But I wouldn't mind seeing the tie here.
Yeah, it's interesting. 0.15 or 0.17 is roughly the amount of time you lose from missing an MT. So
yeah. Oh, Matthias hitting the grass a bit there. Again, it's funny to say, right? These just little minor mistakes down in D3 mean absolutely nothing. But
yeah,
here mean literally the match.
And yeah, it was a good question in chat about the MTs. Yes, if you release an MT frame perfectly, the smoke never turns orange, and Matthias isn't missing any. It would be noticeable that he would drop back quite a bit from Dan if he missed an MT. But Dan only taking it by 0.2 in the end. Those grass touches, if Matthias had just been a bit cleaner on those, could have been a very, very close one. Matthias proving me a little bit wrong here, going for DK shortcut.
I mean, you know, this is potentially his last pick. I don't hate you throwing down a Joker pick here. So, for those who have never seen DKJP, you're about shortcut. You're about to learn just how broken a game Mario Kart 64 is.
Yes.
Smurfy, you can probably do a better job explaining this than I can.
Yeah, so I better explain it while we're doing the countdown, otherwise we'll miss it.
Right.
So what they're going to do is, instead of driving forward at the beginning, they're going to drive backwards. And what they do is they're going to clip through a little misaligned polygon in the cave, fall out of bounds, and the finish line actually extends into the out of bounds area. And so they clip it while they're out of bounds, and then if they do it, the fastest way to do it is to then clip back inbounds, which we'll see if Matthias gets that. He doesn't. He misses the clip back inbounds. I don't know if Dan got it.
Dan looked like he got it. He flashed his.
Did he? Okay, I missed that. Yeah.
I thought he did it.
So yeah, you just do that 3 times, and yeah, he definitely got it because he's on lap 2 now. Messes up his shroom. Matthias actually catches up with that.
Yeah, that's there. Matthias is ahead now. Lining up, and this is
Matthias gets the clip back in.
And it goes. Hey, there we go.
Matthias.
Well done.
And I expect he's going to reset his cartridge so that time doesn't save. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Yeah. So what you see there is, as you just heard, Matthias cleared his cartridge so that his times didn't override his. Ghosts. So those times didn't override his cartridge best.
Yeah, the times don't save until you get to this results screen that Dan's on right now. So if you reset your time, you reset your console real quick after the race, you don't overwrite your non-shortcut times. And Dan now going for his flap joker, taking us to Koopa Troopa Beach. Definitely one of his strongest laps. I'm actually interested to see where these guys use their spare shroom, because usually you do this lap 2, so you don't have the start boost, and you use a shroom around the first corner. And I
think they might use. I think they use it at the end to make sure that they don't. The water can be kind of a pain at the end of lap 1.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm pretty sure that they boost into the water. But then you get the question of you've got to judge when to, when do you fire the shroom? Fire it too early and you don't cross the finish line. Fire it too late and you waste part of your shroom.
Right. You can see these guys being incredibly close to the walls. Dan clips the wall.
Double shroom.
Yeah, he was going to use a second shroom and then had to use his third shroom and then misses the tunnel.
Ooh. So we'll see here. So Matthias coming out showing what the strat would be. Yeah, so yeah, you use your shroom there at the end so that you don't run into the water. Awesome. Hey, we got ourselves a set.
We do. So it is Matthias' pick. He goes for Choco Mountain. This is one where, in one of their previous matches when they were playing on PAL in Season 1, they both got, in the same race, both got top 5 times, if I remember correctly. And just that match, if anyone's curious, go look up their first matches from Season 1 as well, after this one's done, of course. Because there was one in particular, I can't remember which one, but after the race, both of them said it felt more like doing world record attempts than a one-try match. So both these players just so incredibly consistent and
Absolutely.
So fast.
All right, so Dan with the slight lead, just in terms of when he started. Dan missing an MT there.
Got caught up on the wall a little bit as well. Matthias barely avoiding hitting the wall there.
So Matthias is definitely ahead right now. Again, he's got the shroom, so we'll see when Dan uses that. So the times are not going to be perfect.
He'll use it around the second turn here. That second turn is definitely the best place to use that spare shroom, but it doesn't really matter which lap you do it on, so it's a bit of preference. Some people like to get it out of the way because it is a very frustrating shroom.
Sure.
You have to get it super tight, and it's really hard to get that shroom really tight, and so some people just get it out of the way. For me personally, I find, for some reason, off the start boost and coming to that corner, I can just never get that shroom tight, and so I do it on lap 2, like Dan did.
Dan did with an incredibly strong lap 2. Whoa!
Game crashed.
Yeah. So I assume that so Smurfy, you've been doing these longer than I have. I assume do we restart the track? Does it go to?
I honestly don't know. I don't think we can treat it as a draw because then it would give the advantage to Dan and it would be his pick.
That's true. You're right. I don't know. What do you, Smurfy? I lean on you for this. I was not. This is above my pay grade.
I would lean towards it being an MR track win.
That's kind of my gut says that's what the spirit of the league says, as unfortunate as that is. based on everything I've seen and done, that's the way the spirit of the league has gone.
Yeah, it is one try, and it's not really Dan's fault, but it's kind of like a pause scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a weird one on that one.
Yeah. Now I hope. Now the real question here is, how does? Let's hope. So that's the real question. If this happens again for Dan,
yeah, I think if this happened again, we would need to probably do a redo, just because, you know, that's a problem. And pause to like have Dan.
Yeah. I was gonna say the other option is he's on his Japanese console. I'm pretty sure he has an American console, and maybe taking a short technical break to have him switch.
Yeah, if it happens again, hopefully it just doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but I think this will be incredibly interesting to see. You know, just to show the mettle of top players is do we how does Dan respond? So
well, he's gone ahead and picked Luigi Raceway, which is an interesting choice because it is probably the lowest variance track on the whole selection.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's funny though, for as simple a track as it is incredibly technical in one aspect that you'll see these guys do when they use their shrooms. And again, Smurfy, maybe you can explain, though I don't think anybody actually understands the mystery boost, they just know it exists.
Yeah, I think the theory that I've heard, I think Abney was talking about at one point, maybe it's something to do with like triggering the MT frame perfectly or some weird thing like that, but because it's not an exclusive thing to Luigi Raceway.
But Luigi Raceway is where it's used most prevalently.
Yeah, it's some weird physics mechanic thing with ending an MT by smacking into a wall. But yeah, I don't think anyone fully understands the tech behind it.
So what you'll see them do here is when they come up to this grass section, we're likely to see 1, 2, 0. They'll come over here, they'll do one shroom, and then they're going to smack into the wall intentionally to try and get what we quote the mystery boost. It looked like they both got there based on.
Yeah, they both got decent ones.
Yeah.
Matthias ahead by just over a tenth. And yeah, for the conversation in chat, the problem comes that Dan would know the time that he has to beat in that scenario.
Correct.
And also it opens up the idea that if someone thinks they're behind, they can just smack their console and hope it crashes.
Right.
You know?
Right. Again, I do think in the spirit of the league, as we know.
Not that I think that's what Dan did, by the way.
Right. Certainly. Oh, this is almost even now. I think Matthias is behind by 0.01. It all is coming down to this last one here. So this is going to be incredibly close.
And also you see them smacking into the wall going into the tunnel. That's also as intentional. It just happens to be the best line to get a nice tight MT and smack the wall. Dan takes it 0.05.
I was right. He was ahead by 0.01 going in there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think as Matthias called out, I think Dan has every track that's been decided by 0.5 or less have all gone to Dan. I think we've had 3 so far.
Yeah. Also a 138.89 is ridiculous for a one try.
Yeah. Would you lock in a 138.89?
No, especially not into. I probably wouldn't lock into that time converted to whatever it is converted to PAL. Like it's just let's see, what would that even be? 138.89 converted would be. You know, I stand corrected. I did have one single one try performance where my Luigi Raceway was that, but converted to PAL. On NTSC, I wouldn't come anywhere close.
Right.
Just
all right. So here is hoping that this isn't the final track of the night here, but possible. This is match point for Dan.
Yeah, Matthias, goes without saying, he really needs this one.
Absolutely.
And he's choosing Bowser's Castle, which he did take the victory on in set 2.
Yeah.
I think a very good pick from him, honestly.
No, I think that's an incredibly strong pick. And again, to your point, I do think that Matthias has a little bit stronger of that timing and feel here. And I certainly think not picking Flap is the right choice. This is one where if you're strong and confident on it, let those cycle-based effects try to mess up your opponent.
Yeah.
So let's see if either of them can have a clean Bowser Castle in like the last race. So Matthias behind again by about 0.6.
I think he did miss an MT.
He did, yeah. I was trying to think for a second if I can hear the MTs. He did drop an MT.
Oh, he smacked the wall.
He does get a tighter...
I was looking at my other screen, but I just didn't hear the MT I expected to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at it, I was like, was that frame perfect or just dropped? And I was like, no, I didn't hear it as well. So,
about half a second, which a thwomp hit erases immediately, so, definitely still in there.
This is not a done deal at all. Half a second lead on a track like Luigi Raceway, sure. We're talking...
Yeah, that's a disaster.
But...
Lap 3 is really the crucial one. The thwomps are in horrible places.
And Matthias certainly got a better cut after coming down the stairs. Ooh.
Yeah, that stairs MT it's not just about getting a nice MT, it's about staying really tight to the wall because you want a really nice angle for them to left-hand turn around the wall.
Absolutely.
After the stairs, and they're completely linked together. If one MT is wide, the other is wide. It's just the way the physics work out on those stairs. If you don't have a really nice line coming out of that MT, you just get thrown way wide. Dan getting through pretty clean. I think Dan, unless something disastrous happens, is gonna take it. And he does. So that is game, set, and match for Dan. So congrats to Dan. He does take the Division 1 title.
Yeah. And it sounds
very close races, and the match was much closer than 3-0.
Absolutely. Anybody who says that was just a clear 3-0 stomp didn't actually watch.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey Dan, welcome. Congrats on the winning Division 1.
Hey, thank you so much. It was really, really intense.
So
wow.
I think the first question everybody wants to know about, what the heck happened on Choco Mountain there? Any thoughts, theories?
I have no
Illuminati coming after you?
No idea. I mean, I've been playing since like 1 o'clock. I don't know, just warming up. I don't know if my console was like really like just overheated or something. I literally, how sometimes you'll like, if you touch the console or you'll like, if the floor moves, that'll happen. Nothing happened. It just literally did that. I don't know why. So.
Gonna be one of those conspiracy theories moving forward.
Yeah, sometimes it's just for no reason. You hit retry and the game just never loads for no reason.
Yeah, I've thankfully have never had that happen on an actual like world record pace run or anything.
And I think the other big thing that you definitely came prepared for is Moo Moo Farm. Congrats on that! Like taking 2-0 Moo Farm is probably the biggest statement of this match for you. It's certainly one of Matthias's strongest tracks, and it seemed like we were discussing. Did you bring a bit of a different line to the match?
Well, I mean, Moo Farm. The thing about Moo Farm, and I don't think Matthias usually plays like, robotically. People say he's a robot. He plays like the same every match, but for me, it's like, okay, I know I screwed up really bad. I wouldn't say I was prepared like lap 1. I mean, like the first 2 races, you could tell I was so nervous and like making so many mistakes. So that first, the first lap of Moo Farm and the race 1 is just so bad that I'm like, okay, I just have to like risk everything. And I mean, I have practiced like the first set of moles. I have practiced and like can hit like at least 70% of the time. But then the last one was all just like complete luck. I mean, and I told Matthias, it's like, I had the unlucky console crash, but at least I mean, I got lucky with the Moo Farm mole, so it kind of evens out.
I was wondering watching that because it seemed like you pretty much avoided all the moles when you did that shroom. And I was wondering if you went intentionally a little bit wide or if it was just full going for it and got lucky.
Well, I try not to like go over all the way to the right. It's the same as I do in like time trial attempts. You have to kind of go between the ones all the way to the right and then like the middle one kind of there. I don't know if I actually went over any holes. I'm assuming I must have at some point.
Yeah.
But
So, and I will say the other thing that was, so there were, I'm pretty sure, I know for sure too, but I think it was 3 tracks were decided by less than 0.1. They all went to you. So I mean, that was definitely, even though this was a 3-0 win, it's definitely a bit of a break there when all 3 tracks where you both drive incredibly clean break your way. So, I mean, congrats to you there as well. But it's also, I know myself and the viewers are also a little sad we didn't get the opportunities to see sets 4 and maybe 5, just because you don't get to see world-class driving like this very often.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about like the league is that, I mean, I've been playing NTSC for the last 5 weeks, and Matthias only kind of picks it up this week. So, I mean, I felt like I had the advantage in MT speed, but like on Luigi Raceway, for instance, I messed up the mystery boost really bad, and I have like my phone kind of sits underneath my TV, so I can kind of glance to the splits every once in a while. So I saw that he was like 0.14 ahead, and sometimes it's like, I messed up really bad. I assume that like I'm out of the race, but then like, okay, he didn't have the best first lap either, so you just got to keep going and going and going, and I don't know. It was really weird for me because like. And I don't know, this always is my experience playing against Matthias, is that whenever I pick a track against him, I feel like you feel so much pressure to win your own track picks. And so for whatever reason, I drove a terrible Royal Raceway that first time, and DK, like, same thing. But then on his picks, it's like I don't feel as much pressure, and like, that's, to me, that's where the match really, like, for me, went my way, is like, winning on Banshee or Sherbetland, kind of.
Yeah, I think you guys actually ended up winning more of each other's picks than your own throughout the. Like, certainly Matthias did. I mean, he won more of your picks than he won of his own. And so it's just funny how those break.
Yeah. Oh man, I am so relieved, so relieved after that. Oh,
I'm wondering, G, you talk about the nerves. I've found sometimes if you make that mistake early on in the race, you kind of assume, okay, well, I'm out of that, and the nerves kind of go away. And there have been times where I make that early mistake, and then those nerves go away because of it, and then I end up driving some crazy lap that steals the race for me somehow.
Yeah, I think that's what happened for me on Moo Farm. It's like, okay, whatever, the race is kind of over, so you just have, like, all I could do to win it is just risk it and drive well. And then that's...
Yeah, I mean, you won Moo Farm, the first track of the day, by 0.02, and it's because you took those risks.
I know.
You had to.
That's really crazy. And, like, after that happened, like, even though I won and I was happy, I was like, oh my god. I'm so... like, that is so intense. Like, what a way to start,
You feel like it kind of got away with something there.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Were there any tracks you were surprised that weren't picked? That you thought he might have brought or you were prepared for and that you didn't see?
Well, I mean, he's picked pretty much the same against me the last couple times. I mean, I did myself a favor a couple months ago because I got the Rainbow Road 3-lap overall world record. And I think because I did that, I think he, like, last year he picked Rainbow Road and beat me almost every time, if not every time. But like this year, he did pretty much the same tracks both times, like Chaco, Azure, Sherbetland, Mumu Farm every time. So nothing really surprised me. He played DK Shortcut Joker again. I don't know what happened. Like after the first lap, I did well. I heard that he fell in the water, and then like my AB spin like went the wrong way, and then I was just like,
after you landed your second jump and you're just like almost driving off to the bridge, you're just like, I don't know where you're trying to go there, Dan. It's not the right way.
Yeah, it just happens. It happens when you land sometimes, the ground being uneven on that landing. Sometimes if you're in the wrong spot, you're holding left, but it spins you right.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't want to go too long, but I'll just wrap it up by saying that I appreciate both of you guys doing the commentary.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it, and I really appreciate Matthias putting together this league and all he's done for the community, and I know that I did him dirty with, we don't need to get into that, but
sure.
I certainly appreciate, what an amazing competitor he is. And I mean, again, like I practice religiously for this NTSC match, like, for the last few weeks playing. So
two parting questions for you. So now that this, NTSC portion of the One Try League is done, are you still on the 32 out of 32 grind?
I mean, being at 31 site records and having Mumu Farm left for NTSC makes me appreciate like when Matthias had to go through at that point and why he didn't just like grind it, because I was grinding Mumu Farm flat for a few days and it's just like, this sucks, man. I hate this track. So honestly, like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. This match is one of those things that like you're looking at it for a few weeks and you're like, okay, I gotta be ready for this match. And afterwards, like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm not super anxious to grind Mumu Farm again. So
sure.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate when that is such a sticking point for that, and you have a guy like Abney who's just he sees the matrix moles and just.
It's not just the moles. It's like and you could see it in my driving. It's like I have such trouble with a hill section right before the bridge. I don't know why I'm so inconsistent on that.
We were talking about that during the race. So Dan, you get the choice. You either get to eliminate the moles or you get to smooth out the track surface. Which do you pick?
I would absolutely smooth out the track surface. Absolutely.
I don't think that there is a top 200, 300. There isn't a player who's put time into Mumu Farm who doesn't say the track surface. The track surface on Mumu Farm is dirt. Well, literally.
I also feel like, and I mean, I could be wrong about this, but like the way I hold the controller, most of you don't know probably, but I hold on the left handle with my left hand and reach over for my thumb. Which I've been playing that way since I was a kid, because actually I assumed that the D-pad was like how you use the controller, and then when it didn't work for Mario 64, I reached over. But I don't know what it is about the way I drive, but I feel like it maybe has to do with my grip, that I'm just worse on tracks with elevation changes.
Sure.
So like Mumu Farm, if you took out the uneven surface, I feel like that would take out my weakness on the track. So I mean, I could put up with RNG if I knew I was driving well, but I just don't drive well there. So
right.
And then just as the slight plug for kind of what's coming up next in the Mario Kart 64 world for us. How jealous are you that you're not in Division 3 with our awesome playoffs coming up for a trophy?
Wow, I didn't know there was a trophy.
Yeah, we've decided to put in. We bought a trophy, and we're gonna have playoffs based on the standings. So playoffs start the week after New Year's. So Not to say that Division 1 isn't awesome, but for those looking for more Mario Kart action coming up in the next the start of next year, you do have Division 3 playoffs, where you get to see a lot worse driving, where anyone can win.
But so much more chaos.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyone that's watching, like, I don't know, I don't have the broadcast on right now, but if anyone's watching that's not like into Mario Kart 64, you have to watch Division 3 because the Division 3 matches are chaotic and so much fun to watch, and sometimes you get just these insane matches. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
They somehow end up being like 5-set classics as well, like just like going the distance with so many of them.
Not to brag. I mean, I had a match yesterday with Tyson, who is easily the most improved player in Division 3, but we went to full 5 sets, track 7. But I don't think that there's a more classic race on SpeedGaming that I'm aware of than the match between Carson and I. If you have to watch one match, it's right up there. The one between Carson and Tyson is also really good. The three of us just like bringing... We don't like winning in 3 sets. That's no fun. You got to win in 5 sets. So, but any parting questions from you, Smurfy, for Dan? Or we can let the champ get on. I'm sure he's got some champagne waiting.
Yeah, I had one little thing. I, as the shortcut guy here, I can't let it go by. You didn't use your Joker. Did you have a track in mind, or?
Yeah, so let me talk about that because that's like using Koopa Troopa Beach Fast Lap Joker. That seemed like a really bad pick when it happened, I'm sure. I have practiced Yoshi Valley shortcut and did that in my last match against Matthias. I know I could do it faster than in that match, but I practiced it so much on PAL that I like was worried about the timing of the jump, and it wasn't going fantastically.
Right.
And every other shortcut, I feel like Matthias has an advantage. I'm like, I've watched him play, and like he drove 6 out of 6 Warrior Stadium before, and you know, some other stuff. Like, there's definitely options. Like, if you feel really good on Calamari Desert, you could just pick that twice, even, you know. Or if you're Xander, you just go for the shortcut.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you guys know that
in season
my
1,
match,
every time I picked it, I went for it.
Yeah, well, he actually, in my last match, which is against Xander, he almost reversed 4-0'd me in the 3rd set, and he picked Calamari Desert shortcut, hit the shortcut on lap 3, and then like missed an MT and barely lost because he was yeah.
No, that's where, again, going back to Division 3, you pick Calamari Desert shortcut against Mr. Pitt, and he failed.
And he gets the fence clip?
No. So he failed the shortcut lap 1. So he's on the other side of the track, just completely SOL. So he drives around and for lap 2, he tries to do the fence clip. For those that aren't aware, Mr. Pitt, a new shortcut on Calamari Desert was discovered, and Mr. Pitt was the first human to ever complete the shortcut, and then also the first human to restart or hit pause after landing the shortcut. I've actually considered putting out a bounty. I really want to see somebody land that and kind of just take away some of the stigma of that. And so I'm wondering if I put out $100 bounty, if people would start going for it.
Well, we should do, I mean, I was waiting on like Drew to maybe find a different shortcut, or, you know, Forest, but if they don't, then we should do the, 100 for 100 idea, or whatever you want to call it, where like you just have a day of people going for this shortcut, like constantly, you know.
Well, and I like the idea of people, you know, if people are willing, I'm like I said, I'm willing to put forward some money, and the first person, let's put a pot together, you know, if people,
I definitely would.
You know, I mean, contribute what you can, right? I want anybody to contribute the minnow, you know. So let's have a day. Let's make a big day out of it. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to get a pot going and whatever.
I
people
agree.
Can contribute.
I agree on one condition, and that's to call the pot the Mr. Pitt Memorial Fund.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
Yes. No.
You should get like a small portion of it at least, even if he doesn't get it.
The Mr. Pitt Pause Memorial Fund.
Sure, yeah.
There you go. So be on the lookout for the Calamari Desert Day. I don't know, maybe if like Pitt's got a birthday coming up or something, like we're all stuck inside anyway. Here you go. We're gonna honor you. So
I just had to add one more thing about the track picks, because like Koopa Troopa Beach, I picked that in my PAL match, and I feel strong on that track, but I like have trouble sometimes just hitting the ramp 3 out of 3. So
Sure,
I was like the shortcut or the lap joker. Normally I wouldn't pick a lap joker because it introduces more like little, every mistake matters more. But on Koopa Troopa Beach, like I was, I had practiced the shroom strat and practiced the tide and like how I was going to handle that. I was hitting god times every lap 1, but the one mistake that I sometimes made was exactly what happened, which was like hitting that rock. So
why?
Yeah.
I thought it was actually
Mar-
a good pick, but
No, so curiosity. Why? Like, it was just during your experimentation, you found moving the shroom to around those rocks was better than using it at the very end of the race.
yeah, I've seen people use that shroom before. I don't actually know what's fastest for the end. I at one point or another might have practiced it, but it's just like it's so weird to be shrooming and not release the mini turbo and get the benefit from it at the end of the race. So I don't know.
So,
but I mean, I was driving like 26 flat, 2602, 2604. So I remember at the Euro meet, and I know we're going really long, but at the Euro meet 3 years ago, we were doing like the 5-minute battles, and people barely, like, you could barely hit God back then. So I felt really good about it, but it didn't work out. So.
Well, again, final congratulations to Dan. You get to bask in the glory of being the One Try League champion, and up until season 3, when you got to put your title back on the line. I assume you will partake in that. I'd hate to see you leave the Mario Kart, hang up the controller kind of thing. But so look forward to that. We'll, I assume next fall time frame is again we'll have season 3. But as a parting thank you again so much for SpeedGaming to allow us to have the Division 1 finals on here. Smurfy, do we have another? Is there a next match coming up? Do you know? I didn't prepare
no,
for
I
that.
don't think there's one scheduled yet. But Div 3's got their playoffs. So I think
No, I meant. Is there another match for a different game on SpeedGaming 2 next?
Oh, I see. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just trying to, let the audience know if anybody who's still here is clearly fans of speed gaming and things like that.
Yes.
Just what the.
I know on SpeedGaming 1 they're doing that whole SNES Superstars marathon going on.
Fantastic.
But what I'm looking at, yes, actually coming up 610 on SpeedGaming 2 is Link to the Past randomizer.
Awesome. So again, if you're a fan of randomizers and Link to the Past at 610, we've got that. So again, thank you, from us in the Mario Kart 64 community. Thank you for everybody who's stuck around. Like Dan said, I know we ran a little long here, but it's always nice to hear from the champ. So we will let everybody have a wonderful afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays too. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.